All right, y'all. Greetings, 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 greetings. Welcome, welcome, welcome to another episode of Brown Girls Are Beautiful. All right, so today's live stream basically is talking about, you see the title, People Are Miserable. So first of all, I hope everybody has been having a good week, has been having a great start to this week. Hoita Easteen's Talk. Today is Tuesday, July 15th, you all. We're going to talk about it. We're going to get into it. People are miserable. People are out here so freaking miserable that they're trying to ruin your life. And why is that? Why are people out here trying to ruin other people's lives, y'all? It makes no sense. It makes no sense whatsoever. What is it about you that people feel they have to act this way? People are crazy. People are insane. People are envious. People are jealous. People are hateful. They're miserable, y'all. There are so many evil spirits floating around out here, just trying to gravitate, looking at someone that they can cling to try to affect and mess with their lives. And it's so sad because, y'all, do you know how many people are on this planet? Do you know how many days we go through a year? How many hours are in our lives that these people can go out here and navigate away for themselves, but because they don't have the mental fortitude, the drive, the ambition, the motivation, what they want to do is attach themselves to you, cling on to you so that they can, cause you to be miserable right along with them. And people will do it in very subtle ways. This can be in your neighborhood. People do stupid stuff. They'll call the HOA on you. They'll report you to HOA. And then what they'll do is they'll sit back and watch and see what's going to happen. Look in your yard. Oh, let me see what's going to happen with them. Try to report you for anything they can. I remember I went through this before because I had cameras on the townhouse that I was renting. And the next door neighbor, who was very jealous because her husband was speaking to me, y'all. I was out there washing my car and he was like, oh, once you're done with that, you come over here and do this one. So he didn't have a problem with me. He would speak. It was her. So she took it upon herself to call the HOA because I had put cameras on the townhouse because she was vandalizing my car. And I couldn't catch her, but I know she was the main culprit. I remember she put nails under my tires one night, and something just told me before I got in my car and before we left, something said, look down. I looked down underneath the car. I took all those nails and threw it right back under her car. Don't you know, there was another neighbor that lived on the other side of me, stood there. This grown man watched her do this. Didn't knock on the door, didn't let me know anything about it, but he's going to tell me after the fact, oh yeah, I saw her when she was out there doing it. You freaking Pillsbury Doughboy looking idiot, because that's what he was, a Pillsbury Doughboy looking idiot. You're not a man, okay? You are a freaking punk and a coward. How are you going to see this person antagonizing me, doing the things that she's doing, and you don't even tell me about it? So let's fast forward. Later on, I remember it was another day I'm outside. And this is the misery of people, right? I'm out there. I think something was going on with my car. And I remember his wife. Now, we already had spoken to one another. She introduced herself to me. But this lets you know how fake and phony people are, right? They're just trying to get information out of you. So all of a sudden, her attitude switched up as if we had never had a conversation before, because they told me how that same neighbor that lived on the other side of me, how she had gotten into fights with other people in the neighborhood, how, she had been causing issues. She tried to poison one of the neighbor's dogs. Like, she got to fighting and the police showed up and they saw them fighting. I would have stabbed that bitch. All right. Because she was about 300 pounds, about my height. But imagine being short and fat. Okay. You already are not that attractive. And then your husband is supposed to be a truck driver and he leaves and stays gone for weeks upon weeks at a time. And it was rumored that he had been cheating on her. She was miserable. And so she was trying to pay attention to everything that I did, everything that went on, in my little realm of what I had going on, staring at me, looking at me, just all types of stupid stuff. I remember one day I was outside washing my car. She called the police on me, y'all. She called the police on me, and the police pulled up, and I'm looking at them like, okay, well, we came out here because she said that you're trying to wet her car up with the water hose. Now, your car is parked in a parking space not too far from me. Why in the world would I try to wet your car up? This is why I put cameras on the townhouse, because of the egregious things that she would come up with, making up stuff. Y'all, we had to go to court. I know I went to court about 3 or 4 times, and I won every single time I went to court. One time she didn't show up. It got to the point where I told myself, well, no, the last time she lied, that's what she did. So it didn't go in my favor. But every other time I had female judges, it went in my favor. The last time it was this white Caucasian judge, and she wasn't found guilty, but she should have been found guilty. And she was just making up lies in court. So whatever the reason was, it just didn't go in my favor. So I told myself, why am I dealing with this? I'm going to get out of this rental. I ended my lease because I looked up the laws for tenants. And anytime you have like court documents on record of someone harassing you, you can end your lease. So those are your tenant rights. I ended up doing that. And I told myself, I'm just going to get a house. I'm over that. So that's what I did. It didn't take me long. I ended that lease in like August. And let me see. I gave myself until March. I was like, I should be in a house in March, that next March. I was in my house closing before Christmas, y'all. That's how the universe worked it out for me. And there are a lot of things that I've gone through in life that I don't talk about on the channel, but I speak about certain topics because they're prevalent, because I know that people go through things that we would never imagine. But let's get back to the neighbor that lived on the other side of me. So one day something was going on with my car. I don't know. I think I lost my key or something, and they were trying to get another key made, or I don't know if my car was parked a certain way. I can't remember what it was, but she made this comment, and she was trying to be loud so I could hear her about, oh, if I could get through here, like I can't get through. All she had to do was address me. You fucking bitch. Sorry. That's what I was thinking. But it irritated me because it's like, what is your issue? She was out there telling us how the other neighbor had called the police on her husband because he had like this truck that he used to drive for work, and he parked it up the street. And I guess this other neighbor had her husband's car towed. So then all of the information started coming out. Y'all, I ended up moving away from that place. And, the universe, the creators, the spirits, the ancestors, the divine powers blessed me with a brand new house. And I wasn't even looking to, move into a brand new house. I was looking at pre-built homes, but I did not like the neighborhood. So that's the thing I want to point out, because neighborhoods are very important. The higher the price point, the better your lifestyle. So I understand when you have these gated communities, when you have these high priced homes, it's because they want to keep a certain demographic out. And in a way, yes, that is a form of discrimination, but in a way it's not, because who wants to pay all this money to be around ratchetness? Now, let's just think about it. There are people in this world who are just miserable and looking for someone to gravitate so that they can have this person miserable with them. They get glory out of trying to make you miserable. She didn't make me miserable. She was aggravating, getting on my nerves. Like in the daytime, she would knock on the walls, bang on the walls, 3 or 4 o'clock in the AM. She would bang on the walls, make a bunch of noise. I used to be so glad and happy when I saw her car leave. I was so glad that she was gone, because she had a job. She was actually supposed to be locked up, y'all, for 30 days. But for some reason, they magically forgot to. She said she wasn't served, but she knew what she was doing. So with all that being said, she was just doing stuff to be aggravating and irritating. So when I went out of town, I set my stereo to come on at like, 4, 5, or 6 o'clock a.m., I was gone out of town for for winter, y'all. I was gone for a couple of weeks. So I could see on my camera, I guess she called someone, but I wasn't there. Nothing she could do about it. Because I was tired of her antics. But sometimes you don't want to keep like retaliating. You don't want to go back and forth with people. But sometimes they will push you to a limit. So I would go out there with a knife. And I remember one day I was sitting outside and she told me I was ugly and old looking. Y'all, she couldn't think of anything else to say but me being ugly and old looking. Now I don't have to say anything. Things speak for themselves, okay? But that lets you know when people are jealous. So like I said, people are very evil, they're wicked, they're mean out here. And I remember one day I had spoke to her. This was before all the stuff happened. She was outside and I spoke and then she kind of looked at me funny and then she spoke. So that let me know the energy wasn't right in her. Y'all, it's so much more I could get into that she did, but I'm not going to get into it. Now, this is a person that was older than me, much older, at least 10 years older, 10 years my senior, y'all. And it reminds me of that Walgreens incident that I'm going to be showing you on another video of how a 35-year-old was antagonizing a girl in her early 20s. Why are melanated females so miserable out here that they have to take it out on? And usually it's someone that they feel that they don't feel intimidated by. But you mess with me, I'm going to try to KILL if anybody comes around my parameters. And the reason I say that is because it's not going to be a fair fight. And I'm going to make sure that you knew it was not a fair fight. And I don't care how anyone takes it. You have to take that type of, mentality on. There was the situation with the McDonald's woman, and she ended up, attacking her manager with a knife. And now the manager's not here. What was that manager doing to this girl? I don't know. But I do know that these things occur. There are a lot of melanated females that are older that feel like they're, bigger. They have, and you're petite. They like to try you. They like to feel like you're an easy target because they're cowards. These people are punks, y'all. They're jealous and they're envious and they're miserable. They're hateful. They're ratchet. They're ghetto. So this is why I say protect your energy. There are certain jobs where the managers and the supervisors will antagonize and harass their employees. And this is why they want to call security when they walk you out, because they're scared of retaliation. But who's not to say that you couldn't be waiting in the parking lot? Because I remember doing that one day. I remember this older melanated female. It was my first day there. It was just a temp job, y'all. I was just trying to get some extra money in the evening time, calling out, doing surveys. And I was asking logical questions. This woman looked at me and asked me, "What are you trying to do?" And then she tried to compete with me for some reason, because I don't know how the conversation came up, but I knew I was in school. I was getting my bachelor's degree at the time, or I had gotten my bachelor's degree. I can't remember. And she was like, "Oh, I have a master's." Okay, you have a master's and you're working in a call center. Nothing to say that anything is wrong with working in a call center, but why are you bragging to me? You're much older and this is the best of what you can do. Like, get over yourself. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I went on break and then we came back. And in the middle of everybody coming back from break, it's very unclear because this was so long ago. I hadn't done anything, y'all. This white lady, which was another floor supervisor, she looked at me and started yelling at me in front of everybody. And I looked at her, I said, "Something is wrong with you." And I was very calm. And I think that made her more aggravated because she was like, "No, something is wrong with you." Like something possessed her. So this is why I said, when you're special and rare, your energy will really irritate the evil forces out here, the evil entities. It will bring out the people that are evil. You'll recognize them because they'll start acting erratic and insane. I left out of there and I think I called because I never had an issue with that particular. It was a temp agency. I called them and let them know what happened. And they were like, "Oh, they said they don't want you back." I remember that same night when I left, I sat out in my car, y'all, and I waited till it got dark because I was going to follow them bitches home. I've done that before because another job, y'all. So I used to work at this job, and y'all probably remember I used to send out CDs back in the day to people, books, magazines. I used to work there. And lo and behold, it was this female that I went to school with, and I don't know what her issue was, but at the end of the day, and we never really talked. I had my umbrella sitting on the table when we were like signing out to clock out and stuff. She took my umbrella and like moved it like in a real aggressive manner, like scoffing. What was her issue? I don't know. I followed that bitch. I followed her all the way home to let her know you're not gonna be messing with me. And I probably shouldn't have been doing that. But I just got tired of it, y'all. Sometimes you get tired of it. And this is how people get pushed over the edge. Make sure that you are, carrying, especially if you deal with these type of things. Make sure you carry everywhere you go. Of course, I've always been, protected by the universe, my spirits, angels, ancestors, and the creators and the powers that are above. But you still want to make sure you have a way to protect yourself because people will try you. A lot of these people are cowards. And like I said, they like to antagonize people that they see as an easy target. They don't feel that you're a physical threat to them because I am very petite framed, as you all know. I don't pose a threat to anyone, but you're not going to play with my life. And if I have to, I will take you out of here. That's the mentality that special rare breed of people have to have. I don't flock around with a group. I don't need to be in a group because really when you think you're in a group, you think you're protected. Really, those are secret enemies, y'all. So you're just an easy target when you're special, when you're rare. I have a friend in Dallas going through this exact same thing on her job. And she expressed to me that she works in the school system. She's doing what she needs to do. And every day she gets butterflies in her stomach. Every day she doesn't want to go into work. She is out on vacation right now when she's out on break, worried about when she goes back to school, how she's going to get harassed, taunted, and tormented by these other females. And she told me that some things transpired right before the end of school. And then she had to talk to the principal. They had to have a meeting. Like, it's ridiculous. And I'm telling her, like, look, we already know why you're going through this because a lot of us like-minded people, a lot of us special rare people, we actually attract other special rare people to us. She's very nice looking. She has she has a natural way of making people laugh. Her personality, she's funny. And she has people drawn to her, like just with her personality and her conversation. She dresses well. She always looks nice. She fixes herself up very well. And I think with her presentation and her hair looking good, her makeup on point, her nails are always done. Some people are mad at that. I remember in high school, I used to love to dress. I liked fashion. I still enjoy fashion. I like nice things. People don't like it when you like yourself. People don't like it when you care about your appearance. People don't like it when you look good, when you just fix yourself up. They get mad. Why are you wearing those shoes in here? She said people were asking about who did her hair. But the same people that want to know about who did her hair, you're the same people talking about her. So it's craziness to me. This is the insanity of especially women and females. I can't call them women, females, melanated miscreants, y'all. It goes on a lot more than people think, and they don't talk about it enough. My mother went through the same thing on her jobs. And I remember being much younger when we used to live, even in Germany, y'all. Because these are melanated people that were working together. They brought that ghetto, hood, trash mentality with them. They hated on her. They talked about her because she was very petite, very small, very thin. She had 2 children and you couldn't even tell. When I saw her, I'm like, you had the frame of being a model. You could have actually gone into modeling. They didn't like it because they would talk about her hair. They would talk about this and that, but she always had a lot of hair. She always dressed well. I remember my mama in her 20s, y'all. Now, this is no lie. In her 20s, I never really heard women say, she used to dress in slacks and blouses. This is what her wardrobe consisted of, y'all. She used to dress in attire that consisted of blouses and slacks. So if you know what that is, that's another form of like business casual wear. So she didn't really dress in jeans that much. And maybe, I don't know if that was the job requirement, but I don't think it was. That's how she would dress. And then I think they would look at the fact that she had a family, she had a husband. They looked at the type of car she was driving. It was, but in Germany, everybody drives European cars because they are even taxi cabs. The Mercedes over there are taxi cabs. So it's nothing unusual. They have, all the European vehicles are there, but they also had American vehicles. And so people from the outside looking in, they try to basically analyze your life. They don't know what struggles you're going through within yourself, eternally, medically, mentally, spiritually, psychologically, physiologically. They don't know what inner turmoil you have to go through. All they do is judge from the outside looking in and pinpoint you as a target because they are so miserable about themselves. So if anybody out there is going through this, you are not alone. Stay steadfast, stay strong. Let them haters fall where they are. Okay, because I'll never fall. I'll never fall. There are people who want to see your downfall. I'll never fall. They're praying. There are people out there doing witchcraft, y'all. Oh, yeah, people in your own family, people that you would never suspect that will do black magic and witchcraft to try to target and torment your life. You think it's not true? This is real. I'm telling you what I know. Stay protected and stay elevated, y'all. But I'm going to go ahead and sign out because it's time for me to get out of here. I'm well beyond my time. I'm supposed to be going to this. They're having a grand opening for one of the new construction places. And I said that I would be there. So I'm going to go ahead and sign out. And I got so much more to do today. This has been a message from yours truly, Brown Girls Are Beautiful. Please like the video, share the video, and subscribe to the channel, y'all. I'll tune in with y'all later. Okay. And I'm going to just say,